Hi everyone. So I was going to title this video 10 records for your mental health, but given that we all definitely listen to different music to help on that front, I figured I'd just make it my own, and maybe some of these records either you're not familiar with or you never thought of in that light, and may be something you can turn to help to calm your own mind. So it's no secret that I talk a lot about mental health and mental illness on this channel. In addition to music, I think that's sort of turning into a both. I think if somebody were to ask what my channel is, it's stories about records or stories about music, and also mental health stuff. Still working on the pitch, but clearly an area of my life that's very important to me, and it has been for many years, and will only grow in the future. I do plan on talking about my own experiences in my own mental health experiences, struggles, how I manage my own mental health in future videos. I'll probably just keep it on this channel. I was thinking about doing maybe a different channel, a mental health focused one, but why not just do it here? I can be versatile, right? Or try to be versatile. And I will do so soon, if not today, a little bit. And I plan on covering a lot of areas of my own mental health journey. And I would like to do that because I think I have adopted a lot of tools and a lot of learnings via therapy and other resources that I've been lucky enough to have access to in my life that have made my own mental health improve. And I was talking to a friend last night. Was it last night? Either last night or the night before, about mental health and my areas of focus. My areas of focus, especially given the organizations that I work with, have been around the stigma and treating mental health the same way in which we treat physical health. I know that's a big topic, especially in the last few days, with Simone Biles. I don't follow the Olympics much. I wish I did, because I do enjoy it when I watch. And I know she is, I believe, the greatest gymnast ever. But obviously her shining a light on her own mental health as it relates to the fact that she pulled out of, I think, the team competition. She may still be doing the individual, which I hope she does, and I'm going to try and watch that. And with Naomi Osaka, probably the most famous female tennis player in the world, Kevin Love, basketball player for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The more and more people that bring light to this, the better. But I raise them because I've been thinking a lot, not just about access, but about not just about the stigma, but about access. And, I have been privileged enough to have the financial resources to have good mental health care over the course of my life. And most do not have those resources, or many do not have those resources. So a large part of what I will focus on going forward is how to, I guess it'll be a combination of the stigma and access. Navigating mental health, from therapists to medication to, you need to see a psychiatrist for medication, a psychologist for ongoing therapy, but sometimes it's a psychiatrist for ongoing therapy. It could be a social worker, could be a marriage and family therapist. It's a web that is very hard to figure out. So I will continue to work to help in any way I can, specifically around the stigma as well as access. So I guess that's my public service announcement and leading into these records. So I think I shared on this channel a while back that maybe 10, 15 years ago, I used to reserve an hour couple nights a week to just listen to a record, nothing else. I would put my phone away. Sometimes my dog would be on the couch with me. That's fine. He's not really a distraction. He just sleeps. And I would just listen to music. Usually turn the lights off, maybe light some candles, and only focus on the music. And I did it the other night for the first time in a while. I mean, I'd listened to music pretty with intent often, but to actually make the effort to have no distractions is, at least for me, a different experience. And I opened up Blood on the Tracks, the Bob Dylan classic, the Mobile Fidelity box set, the really nice one, and I played the first 2 of 4 sides the other night, and it is just a remarkable experience when you just listen to the music. You hear instruments. I heard lyrics that I had never really noticed, and it really helps my mental health. So this is not really a video on that, on the experience of being singularly focused on the music, although it partially is. But this is really just on 10 records that I turn to for my mental health when in need, sometimes when not in need. But these are records that help to settle my mind, or to clear my mind, or to relax me. So let's talk about what those are. Let's see. To start is Eddie Vedder's Into the Wild soundtrack. I've mentioned I'm not a Pearl Jam fan. I actually don't even know Pearl Jam well. I know their first few verses and whatever the other big 10 we listened to in college a bit, but I never got into Pearl Jam. I've never seen them live. I've always respected Eddie Vedder. Seems like a good guy. But I talked about this in a previous video. This is my brother's. It's one of the records I have from his collection. He and I think, read this book at the same time, and we're just over the moon about it. Obviously, the movie with was it directed by Sean Penn, I think, which is this. I love the movie. I've only seen it once, may watch it again. But this album I have turned to a lot for my mental health. The songs on this, which are covered because the record's here, Society is one. I know I shared this previously, but I was listening to it once when I was going through Zion National Park, and I was at a stop sign in the middle of the park, and there were a bunch of hikers near me, and a woman sort of leaned into my window, and she said, my husband has been listening to this record on our road trip endlessly. And it was like a really cool moment because I was playing this really loud. But I often, when I need to relax my mind, I turn to this, and it's sort of a reminder of what's important in life, maybe sort of nature, and not being too caught up in consumerism and such. It's just a really pretty record, and I love it. So that's one. Next is any Graham Parsons, really, but I picked Grievous Angel because this has a lot of the tracks that really do ease my mind. Hickory Wind, In My Hour of Darkness, Hearts on Fire. It's just such a beautiful record. This is a used copy. Looks like Sid owned it before me. But Graham Parsons just does wonders for me. I adore his music. And that's really it. Listen to Graham Parsons, which I'm sure many of you do. Next is one of Graham Parsons', as far as I know, one of his closest friends, or was one of his closest friends, and somebody he did some work with. This is the Emmylou Harris record, Wrecking Ball. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous record. This is so heavy. It's got to be like 400 gram vinyl. None Such Records. It's reissued in 2016. This is the deluxe edition, of course, produced by Daniel Lanois. Goodbye, Wrecking Ball, Going Back to Harlan, Deeper Well, Every Grain of Sand, Sweet Old World, Orphan Girl. It just goes on and on. One of the most beautiful records I own, and I just absolutely love Emmylou Harris. I've only seen her once. I saw her in a park. It wasn't Central Park in New York City. It was sort of down by NYU. I can't remember the name of the park. It's the same place where I saw, or no, where Radiohead, I think, played right around the same time, early 2000s maybe. I didn't see the Radiohead show, but I did see Emmylou Harris. I think it was at the same spot. Just one of the greatest singers of all time, and just a heart of gold. Wow, that pun was not intentional, knowing that this was coming next. Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. I have the reissue, but this was lighter, so I figured I'd use this. Looks like I bought it for $2 at some point, and just an all-timer. Even when it starts, Tell Me Why, and After the Gold Rush, Till the Morning Comes, Cripple Creek Ferry, I Believe in. These songs just relax me, and I just adore this record. Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. Had to go with a jazz record, and at least of late, this is the one I listen to the most, and this is not the reissue, the box reissue that just came out, but Kind of Blue. I put this on, and it throws me into a trance. I just adore this record. I play it all the time. I think in the past year, this is probably the record I've played the most. So maybe it's my lockdown record. Arguably, some would obviously say the greatest record ever made. So that really helps. I had to pick one Gillian Welch record, and I'm going with The Harrow and the Harvest. All of her records are tremendous. This one came out in 2011. This is her last real proper record, if I'm not mistaken. She put out the reissues last year. But this may be, I love all of her records, but this is the one that I usually, and the records I'm sharing, I will literally be either anxious about something. When I was working in corporate America, if I had a public speaking engagement, these are the records I would turn to and listen to in advance to sort of calm my mind. And this, The Harrow and the Harvest by Gillian Welch, that's Dave Rawlings, I've turned to many, many times. And then the last three are really the three ones that I listen. There's four more. One is on CD, because I don't have it on vinyl. I don't think it's even out on vinyl. But these last four are really the big ones. Excuse me. This is the Bill Fay record, Life is People, which came out in, oh God, I can't believe it's been almost 10 years. On Dead Oceans, There is a Valley to Open, The Healing Day, City of Dreams. He covers Wilco's Jesus, etc. Be at Peace with Yourself. I have a playlist, which I'll try and find and put in the notes, that I use for my mental health, and that is on it. This World, this is just a great, great record. Bill Fay, somebody who, I think this was either his first or second record in 40 years. He's now put out a few. Countless Branches came out in the last few years, and I love that record too. Bill Fay, just a treasure, British singer-songwriter. If you don't know him, check him out. I discovered him because Wilco covered one of his songs that is now escaping me. What's the name of it? It's escaping me. I'll try to remember it, and I'll put it in the notes. Jeff Tweedy's covered it a number of times, and I've seen it live. It's an older Bill Fay song from the 70s, and it's just a tremendous, tremendous song, and I will put that in the notes. Last, I can go turn to, or not last, I'm a little bit all over the place. This Brian Eno record, atmospheres and soundtracks is one that I turn to. This is what sort of my go-to, especially the song Deep Blue Day. It's 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Play that. Sometimes I just play that on repeat, and man, does it help. A tremendous record. I love Brian Eno's catalog. Two left, and one is a box set, which I would imagine people who have been following my channel probably know what's coming. I bought this last year. It's usually extremely expensive, in the multiple thousands, $2,000-$3,000, I think. I found it for, I think, under $600. It's sort of a beaten up copy, but I didn't care. I just wanted it, even if it's a little bit beaten up. And this is William Bzinski's The Disintegration Loops. Anybody who knows the story, which I am probably not going to do justice to, he had a bunch of old recordings on actual, I believe, physical tape that he started listening to on and after 9/11. I believe he was living in New York. And these songs sort of reminded or made him think of 9/11. Read up on it. It's fascinating. And some people take issue with it. I think that he sort of exploited 9/11 to make this. So it can be a little bit dark, but sometimes if I just want to ease my mind and not associate it with that day, which I think I've mentioned I was in New York. I was actually in Manhattan when I can almost do the timestamp. I was in Brooklyn, I think, when I was on the F train when the first two planes hit. And I believe I was either under or close to under the World Trade Center when the first tower fell. I ultimately got out at 57th Street, which is where I worked. And maybe the 20th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up, so I'll probably do a video about that day. I think it's good for people to share what their experiences were like on that day. Even 20 years later, I feel very weird talking about it. But these records are just beautiful. And I think William Bzinski might be touring soon, and I would love to go. So the Disintegration Loops, I suggest you try it out. Again, if you associate it with 9/11, which is, I think that the smoke on the cover there is supposed to be the smoke. I think it's a picture of the smoke coming from the towers. It can make it less, obviously, relaxing. But if you disassociate, which I have been able to do, not always, but sometimes, it has been very helpful to me. So it's a beautiful box set. I love it. And last is, I only have it on CD, and I learned about this from an interview, I'm almost positive, with Tom Waits, where he was asked his favorite records of all time. And I think in this interview, he said this was number 1, or maybe he just said 10 and they were in no order. And I bought it. I found it at Amoeba Records in San Francisco. And I've turned a number of people onto this for the specific reasons for mental health specifically. And this is, can you see it? The Sinking of the Titanic by Philip Jack Alter Ego. Gavin Bryars, The Sinking of the Titanic, 1969 to whenever. Again, it's bringing back a bad memory, but it is just gorgeous. It's supposed to be the sort of sounds of the Titanic as the ship was sinking. So again, similar to the last one, it could be maybe for some people not the ideal soundtrack to try to relax yourself, but it works for me, or it has in the past. I haven't listened to this in years, but when I did, it's just very meditative, and I love it. I think it's available digitally. It came with this beautiful card. It's one of, I just adore. It's just beautifully packaged. You can see. And Tom Waits is the reason I got this. A record I wish more people knew about. A Matter of Degrees soundtrack. So when I got into Uncle Tupelo, I found out about this soundtrack because there was a song called Won't Forget that I had never heard from Uncle Tupelo that was on this soundtrack. And I found this many years ago. I believe it's very hard to find, or actually on Discogs it may not be that hard. But it is a tremendous soundtrack. It has Fire Hose, Giant Sand, 11th Dream Day, Yola Tango, Schoolie D, Alex Chilton, the Lemonheads, the Pixies. It's where I heard Where Is My Mind for the first time. An amazing soundtrack. I saw the movie and I don't remember if I really liked the movie, but this is a soundtrack that I've never heard anyone talk about, and it is exceptional. That is it. Again, these are records that help me. If they help you, that would just be awesome. If you have records that help with your mental health, please share them in the comments. I would love more recommendations. And that is it for today. I will talk to you soon, and be well.